And it was insane. Just absolutely insane.
I can see how that would happen.
But alright guys, everything's set. Here we are for the finals of the Zotac Cup. Game 2 in this best of 5 series. It's spawning here in the lower left corner of the map. It's the red Terran player. It is Jjakji.
Ladies and gentlemen, his opponent, sponsored by CM Storm. He's currently up 1-0 in this series. In the blue trunks, it is the other GSL champion in this game, Polt.
And I'm really curious. Like, we obviously can't get in the minds of these players. You and I, not in that level. But I'm curious if they view this as a relaxing experience, or if this is like them trying to like sharpen and hone their skills. You know? Because on one thing, like I'm sure they're both very aware of the quality of player they're each fighting. But on the other, this isn't GSL. This is a North American tournament, kind of laid back, not $100 is a lot, but it's not a giant prize pool. So I'm kind of curious the mental state these guys are taking these games in.
Well, you know, considering the fact that they've probably met each other before, I would say this is a very special treat for both of them to be playing in. When you're competing at the highest stages of StarCraft 2, you really don't want a walkover win. You want to be tested. You want to refine your builds, and you want to be put into situations where you really need to test your mental abilities and really your ability to keep your composure and respond appropriately. We saw in that last game, Jjakji went for the command center first. He is now switching it up, going for a barracks followed by an early refinery. On the other side of the field here, Polt is going for barracks, and his refinery is slightly later than Jjakji's. So Polt has obviously favored the Reaper opener in this matchup, and we'll likely see him do that again till it, is conquered by something. But both players, pretty much are going into this. Oh, Jjakji with the cancel on the spy duper though. Going into this with a plan, and it's really going to be up to Jjakji to put everything, put Polt on the back foot and really dictate the pace of this game.
Yeah, and I mean, like we said, Polt, like. I like the way he's been opening Reapers, because it's not a huge investment. He's not going all in with them, and it does a ton of harass damage, but... Oh man, Polt's probably going to pick out this SCV of Jjakji as it does get in here and sees, okay, yeah, there's a gas. But again, like I said earlier with the Fuser series, it's not that big of a deal because every Terran player has gas, and unless you get here early enough to see exactly when that gas was taken, you don't know whether that was an 11 gas or 13 gas. It's a little bit harder to read nowadays.
Yeah, if he clicked on the refinery, he may be able to get a little information from that.
God.
But I think the biggest tell is the fact that he didn't see Reapers out of Polt, and he saw that the fact that 2 Marines were taken, knows that the only typical follow to that is to build your reactor. If you've seen that the player has taken gas, but Jjakji's added on his factory much quicker than Polt in this situation, and has taken a second gas as well, way quicker than I would ever expect.
Yeah, all right,
so
well,
this could be a 1-1-1. We did see him do a 1-1-1 expand, a 1-1-1 with delayed expand against Marine King Prime in the MLG Winter Championships. And this is something I've been experimenting myself, but with that armory placing down Rifkin, this is going to be Hellbats. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah, I was going to say, if this can be the 4 Hellbat drop, this can be incredibly powerful, especially on a map like this. But I was going to comment on this. One thing I'm a little shocked about, despite all the TvTs we've had today, we've seen no mech out of anybody. Now, I know there's this big thing about how, alright, Bio's really good, it's quite abusive, etc., but I want to comment, like, we watched Straylock in the EU Cup, and a couple others just, like, it was ridiculous. I know Goody's known as the Panzer General, but a lot of unsieged tanks coming out of just non-stop aggression for that mech play. I was really hoping to see more of that here today, but it's been Bio pretty much non-stop.
Yeah, and considering that Jjakji's placing that armory down, you got to think making that investment. The logical step from there is to go into mechanically oriented play, but he's adding on a couple of Widow Mines here, Rifkin, and there comes the first 2 Hellbats. He's got peculiar placement down, okay, on the barracks, but I was thinking like this is usually what you see when Terran players go for that starport, but of course this is the variation introduced in the GSTL the other day, where you go for your Hellbats off the reactor, you drop your starport down on the reactor being built by the barracks, and you get those first 2 medevacs out so quickly. And oh my gosh, the most unlucky scan in the world for Polt does not see any of the tech decisions from Jjakji.
No, that's really unfortunate. If the Hellbats had been kind of idling nearby, it could have been a big tell, but scouting information in this game is everything, and with okay, looking at the base right now, he'll have a Widow Mine in the mineral lines, he's got a lot of Marines. If he can shut down one of those medevacs on the way over, I feel like that's it. Awesome, Jjakji's just going to be down. But if he can't, and he gets these Hellbats in the base, this is going to be devastating damage.
Here we go. First medevac has been loaded up. second medevac. Oh, immediately loaded up too. Jjakji's not messing around.
They're gonna awkwardly pass each other here, Doom.
Yep, Polt sees what's going on now. How is he going to react to this? His Marines can get destroyed by these Hellbats if they get forced into an awkward cone. And his reaction is to continue building Widow Mines.
Jjakji needs to unload not in the mineral line. He needs to unload away from it so he can engage this fight because there's a missile turret here and there's just no way for him to cause enough damage with these Marines looming by. But there we go, dropping right on top of the Marines and starting immediately with a massive damage.
A big split from Jjakji on the other side of the field here with his SCVs. A couple of Marines are going to drop immediately, but the medevacs are not actually healing. Hellbats, 2 of them are going to fall. Only 2 more left in the game. If he picks it up, he could be okay, but he has to do so much damage control back at home. Oh, and there goes. The scan is going to clip the wood mine in the mineral line. And now this one Hellbat is wreaking so much damage against Polt. It's out of range.
The healing. He's trying to kite until the Widow Mine's off cooldown, but unfortunately I don't think he'll be afforded that opportunity. Oh, but there's the Marauder, and Jjakji needs to get in the mineral line. He needs to stop screwing around, and oh no, the Widow Mine!
Oh, he does have 2 Widow Mines outside of the base of Polt too. He has not taken advantage of them to move them in just quite yet, but these 2 Vikings are going to be stalking across the field, and what can Polt actually do in response if he lands these Vikings, say, in the middle line or something like that? But
I don't know, but that's kind of crazy. There's a kind of a crazy trade. Ooh, can he snipe this off? But yeah, Polt definitely coming at the, I guess, underhand or lesser out of that fight. But Jjakji, to get this done, he's lost a lot of SCVs. We got the natural up for Polt. I mean, it's been mining. Jjakji's falling further and further behind. Unless he causes some economic damage, I can't see him winning this game.
I think Jjakji's in a great position, Rifkin. Fortunately for him, he was able to move a Widow Mine up into the main. He's going to get it into the ramp here. No, unless the Marauders have something to say about it. They just barely do. He's got a huge drop coming in the back of the base, though, protected by Vikings. And the one thing he doesn't have, though, is right now is scans. And he's really going to need them. Oh, there he uses the one to see that the Widow Mines are placed in position to the left. And
this
now
is what I'm talking about.
In the middle line.
Yeah, he needs to get some of these SCVs dead. Oh, can he kill all these Widow Mines? Oh, he's got to back up.
Well, they do only take
well, they actually
one.
don't. Yeah, they don't one-shot Hellbat, so the medevac's healing it up afterwards.
And now more and more Hellbats are joining the fray from the ramp here. And now Jjakji in a dominating position in Polt's base. He's even microing his Hellbats and picking them up in the medevacs. And the Viking from Jjakji is shelling the medevacs of Polt. Going to greatly limit the healing available to him. And now with that calm down on those
This is ridiculous! 2 Hellbats coming for the main. Viking lost to that Widow Mine, but the Hellbats take no damage from it. And unfortunately, that Bloody Boy is down. But I gotta say, Jjakji cleaning up here very nicely. His Vikings on the ground as well. What a weird combination, dude.
He's got 1 scan here. If he uses it now, he can take down the Widow Mines, but he is going to wait to see when the other ones are going to be burrowing. He has moved Hellbats into the middle line. Oh, a Viking is going to get targeted by the one Widow Mine. Hellbat does get splashed by that single Widow Mine, and SCVs are desperately trying to focus down, but the medevac is healing it. And oh my gosh, so many SCVs are being killed, and you got to be looking at the units lost here. Polt has just lost so much more, despite the fact that he has this command center down, though. And
This is so weird.
Joining in.
Vikings being landed seem to be way more effective than the Hellbats at this point, I have to say, but chasing off these Marines, some nice kiting coming out of Polt. Like, he's handling this situation well. He hasn't given up. This Bloody Bow is now up, but these Hellbats in the front, they could just go for that natural, and the natural is very
They should go for the natural, but Jjakji is not recognizing that that is really the only advantage that Polt has.
There we go.
Here we go.
Oh no! The medevac with 5 health! Oh, there's nothing to actually shoot at though, so he's alright on that aspect.
I love it that he's splitting up the Hellbats now, and oh my gosh, big shot going off on a couple of SCVs. He is going to keep moving. Viking is going to be taken down by medevac there. 1 Hellbat is going to be shot by Widow Mine as well, and constant pressure here from Jjakji in this game. He's building a command center back at home though, Rifkin, so he's going to try to follow this up if he isn't able to kill Polt here.
If Polt had concussor shell on these Marauders too, this game would be going completely different, but unable to kite these, taking a lot of damage. Let's look at the workers lost at this point, 25.
Yeah, Jjakji actually has better income than Polt right now because of the lack of SCVs mining. Polt was able to, yes, as you mentioned, preserve some of those SCVs, but 28 to 17 now, so much damage from Jjakji, and he's actually getting a Raven now. This is exactly what he needs to combat these Widow Mines without having to waste scans.
I can't believe how much kiting he did over these 2 Widow Mines, by the way. They don't have a lot of kills, but they're kind of the unsung heroes of this battle because they did so much damage.
You know what I love that Jjakji is doing right now, Rifkin? He's going old school. Cloaked Banshees are going to be joining the fray here, going to be able to do so much damage to Marauders and pick off Marines one by one. The problem is that, you know, if the medevac or if the Raven comes over the field and he doesn't have something to range out those Widow Mines, they're going to continue to be as effective as they are. And if the Raven gets on top of a Widow Mine and gets focused down, well, that's just going to be devastating for Jjakji.
Well, I like that he's also posturing himself outside the base. I mean, he's making sure Polt doesn't go for another base. I mean, the last thing Jjakji wants to see right now was the fact that, like, maybe if Polt had like a secret third base or something. But...
Yeah. And I think the last thing he's going to want to see is drops, but he's got Vikings placed a little bit too far south to see these two medevacs coming down, but no, Polt's actually going to reveal this to Jjakji barely.
Just barely. He can still boost though and outrun this Viking heavily, but instead going to unload and take the fight.
Yeah, this is an insanely good win here for Jjakji. He's even got the Banshee.
Oh, is Polt going to see the Banshee? He does. He sees the Banshee on the field.
That's going to make him think just, okay, what are you doing, Jjakji? Like, are you seriously going as all in as you are here? But, oh, it doesn't have cloak yet on this Banshee's desperately. Oh,
it's just finished! There's so many just barely between these players, Doom, and this is ridiculous. This is what makes StarCraft great.
I'll tell you what's not going to be a just barely. It's going to be a direct hit as these Hellbats moving into the range of this Widow Mine. Will it go off and damage them? It does.
I just noticed my camera was slightly tilted. I think I fixed it now. No, it's still tilted. I guess that's from going on your camera, so... that's weird. I've never had my camera is like 12 degrees off or something. Not a big deal.
I've had that happen to me before. I have had that happen before.
Hellbats.
Hit one.
Oh, what do I do to fix this?
Hit one, and then hit E.
Nope.
Oh,
okay.
But a big engagement coming up over here. Polt is moving in with
It's a cloaked
Marines.
Banshee, and he doesn't want to have to waste a scan on that, but there we go, that fixed it. Okay, thank you for that tip, dude. I've never had my camera get stuck before. This is so weird.
I've had that happen to me, and yeah, it is really weird. There are still some slight bugs in the Observer UI here for Heartless Swarm.
Oh, the Viking does go down.
Yes, that's actually a good win there for Polt because, you know, the less damage he's taken on those medevacs, the more he'll be able to heal his units, which are strictly bio, and more medevacs are going to be joining in the fray here. Looking at the upgrades for both players, Polt, it does have his +1 infantry weapons level 1 done. He's got a 3rd command center, and he's pretty much hitting a stride here with the stim and combat shields and concussive shells being done, and the drop in the main base is doing massive amounts of damage. Siege tank being split apart here, and it's going to be focused down by the Marauders and Marines, though. Jjakji forced to pull SCVs and try to surround these units, but the Viking is going to take down one medevac, and it seems like Jjakji should be able to eventually clean this up.
The no stim on Jjakji is really hurting this, though, as we see just Polt sprinting across the field. It's Usain Bolt versus Lance Armstrong right now. And oh man, he just, unfortunately...
Yeah, Viking pretty good, cleaning that up, and if you guys are playing TvT on ladder and experiencing this badness, you know exactly what these two players are going through in this situation, but the APMs for both these players is insanely off the chart right now. They're both not giving up, continuing to add on engineering base, and armory is Polt trying to get his upgrades up. He is going to be slightly delayed in getting that +2/+2, so that's a slight win there for Jjakji, who is just about to finish up his Terran infantry upgrades level 1.
Well, I do want to comment, like, despite having lost so much in the early game, he's actually taking the worker lead once again. So I mean, Polt's economy,
Big command center, baby.
Big command center and a great economy to go with it, but oh, that +1 armor helping keep that SCV alive an annoyingly long amount of time. I don't think the missile turret will go down.
Gonna try to get it
close. Okay, nice.
Super cool. All right, so Jjakji does have 3 command centers of his own on the other side of the field. He's adding on a couple more barracks to try to get his macro up slightly better. Going to be going for reactors, of course. Marine tank, the king unit composition in this matchup. Widow Mine, though, could potentially take this down, and boom, that Banshee is done, son.
And that +1 armor actually a really great choice out of Polt, because as we saw, the Banshee takes 3 shots to kill everything instead of 2, and just really limiting the amount of damage that Jjakji can do with that harass. Now he's going to take out this Widow Mine and look to start pushing again, but I don't know that that's a wise choice to do, because at this point, I really feel Polt has out-macroed him.
We'll have to see. You know, both players are pretty much establishing their 3rd base at the same time as Jjakji's now moving his into what is that forward position here. Neither player looking to expand outwards, but instead expanding slightly towards their opponent. And this is pretty typical because you can lock down the 2 areas where the Terran player is going to need to move in and do some damage to you. Looking at this tank position here from Jjakji, I don't think Polt's going to be able to move in on it, especially with 3 tanks now sieged up and ready to combat this. Polt, though, is going to try to stand in and split his units, but so devastating there, he's going to have to turn around.
I love watching the Marines catch fire, by the way, from that tank. Like, they literally catch on fire, and I always smile when that happens. But I do want to point out we have a sneaky Banshee trying to get around the field, but with this many sensor towers and Widow Mines placed very strategically, I don't think Jjakji is going to be able to do too much.
Yeah, Polt is very, very aware of the fact that one of Jjakji's only options in this game is to drop him in the main base and try to take out his infrastructure, try to stim down and take down SCVs, tech labs, reactors, anything possible. But Polt is now really, really feeling the benefits of giving that third command center up quicker and basically just streaming units, you know, across the map, getting them all in this one focus ball. And he's actually going to be trying to pressure Jjakji again.
Positioning here, that's the medevac giving leeway to the tanks to fire away, but nice stim forward on the Marines. Does pick up that forward tank, but he's got to be careful. His tank is also very low at 8 health.
And the one thing I want to mention is that Jjakji does not have the benefit of a turret ring in his main base, so Polt would opt for some type of drop in the main here. It could be absolutely devastating since all of Jjakji's tanks are currently focused on this third base position.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, we've got a big movement here. We got the Banshee and the medevac trying to move out across. But again, there's no turrets here, but the sensor towers will catch this. It's going to be so difficult to sneak around this.
That Widowmine just misses that medevac too. Oh, that could have been so devastating for Jjakji, but he is going to be able to move into the natural position here and force Polt to use some of his units backwards instead of moving them forward into the position where Jjakji can actually, Jjakji can actually probably clean what Polt's got in the middle of the field up too, Rifkin, but he simply just isn't aware of the numbers. Going to have to use the scanning to see, but no, pulling SCVs as well. And he's going to try to take this down, and he will be successful.
He'll get the tanks at the very least. Always a good win.
All right.
Checking the upgrades for both these players right now. They are actually fairly even. The only difference is we got cloak versus concussor shells, but really it's kind of been irrelevant at this point.
And here we go. Polt is finally loading up into the medevac. Oh, man. Middle of the field, though, a bunch of Marines are going to get caught out, and he sees the fact that Jjakji is moving into a very aggressive position, pretty much thinking he's going to have to use... No, he actually is going to continue to move the medevacs out into the base of Jjakji, so Polt definitely wants to get aggressive in that regard, but he's going to be significantly weaker at home, and Jjakji has a greater siege tank count than Polt in this situation, Rifkin, and a couple of Polt's siege tanks are locked up in those medevacs.
Yeah, this is actually looking really scary for Polt. He's going to lose this base, there's no question about it. How long can he hold, though? This tank sieged without any support to it.
Crazy good repair there from Polt to keep that command center alive. He will be able to save this command center as well. One Viking is enjoying the reigning of the sky. He's like, I am the king Viking. And Jjakji's actually able to deflect the drop here from Polt in the main base, but Polt simply saying, no, man, I'm just going to move into the third. I'm going to do the same thing he did to me.
Great evacuate from Jjakji, though. He doesn't lose too much.
Oh, that command center rapidly falling and does not give up.
And the SCVs don't continue to retreat. They only kind of retreated.
Jjakji doesn't have an additional command center. Meanwhile, Polt has not only his third command center, but a fourth one as well. And, oh, man, Jjakji now significantly on the back foot. Polt, he's just going to lift up and go home.
Oh, he's actually going to charge into this. Again, losing a couple tanks, but yeah, he took out the base.
Dropped on it, maybe, I guess.
He could have been a little more cost efficient, but again, it's all about time at this point because Jjakji, I think he realizes he's on a bit of a clock with losing that base.
Yeah, you know what else he's at is a medevac disadvantage. And Rifkin, when you're able to heal your units faster in the TvT matchup, when you have better upgrades than your opponent, it's really, really difficult to overcome. And Jjakji knows that he's basically on his last leg in this game, not building additional command centers, but only floating his command center, his orbital command from the main to his third position. He's desperate to try to get some type of damage done, but Polt, more medevacs, equal upgrades from each player, and actually better position from Polt here, getting on top of the tanks, but Jjakji doing great focus firing. It's simply going to be too much, Rifkin.
Yeah, I think even if Jjakji survives this fight, looking back at home, he doesn't have that base to fall back on. GG. Oh my god, dude.